Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by today for another wonderful tutorial. If this is your first time stopping by my channel and you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload new videos. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to sew the corset, and we created the pattern last week. So today's tutorial is all about sewing the corset together, and I'll put the link in the description box below how to draft a full corset. So let's get started. Okay, so now I have cut out the I've used the pattern and cut out on my fabric, and as you can see I added a half an inch all around except for the side seam. It doesn't, I already put a 2 inches seam allowance when I was cutting that, so I added a half an inch in on the yoke, also the cups and the center front and the back. So for the yoke, I'm using an organza fabric, so I cut 2 pieces of that, so it's not gonna be too transparent, and that's totally optional. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I pick up my center front. I am going to attach it to the side front. So as you can see, I cut out the fabric and also the lining. Okay, so this is the front and the 2 sides. So I'm going to attach the 2 side fronts to the center front using half an inch that I left out. So I'm just going to pin it down. Okay, and this is what you have. I'm going to sew it. I will do the same for the lining pieces. Okay. All right, so I used an interface on the on my main fabric, so I forgot to show you that initially, so that's what I did before I went to sew it. And remember, you're using half an inch to sew the seams together. And this is the lining. I'm gonna do the same. Okay, and then these are the back. This is the back. I added the interface on the back as well. So now I am going to join the side backs together, and then the middle part will be where the zipper will go. So I'm just showing you again how to attach it, and you're also joining the backs with half an inch seam allowance, and this will be the center back, and then the middle is where the zipper will go. So I'm just using my marker to indicate that this is the upper portion of the back, so that I don't make a mistake of joining that to the down portion. So make sure you mark your own as well, or use anything that you can to indicate the up and the down. So this is the lining for the back. I will sew the lining the same way as the main fabric. And I also marked the top and the bottom of the lining. All right, so once I finish sewing it, this is what I have. So I finished sewing it, and I use my iron to press it down. Once you finish iron, press down the seams, as you can see right here. Okay. the lining as well. And now, since I'm not using a boning, but this is totally optional. If you have a boning, you're just going to use it and join on the side, the seam. So I'm gonna put on the side where I joined it, and then for the middle I folded it into two, then get the midpoint so that I can use a satin bias strip to sort of decorate the front of my my corset. Okay, so this is optional. If you have a boning, you go ahead and you use the boning to put on these points where I'm showing you. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sew that down. And now to attach the cup, I have the wording and also the main fabric, and I also cut out the lining pieces. So now I'm going to use my pattern. I placed it on my the already cut out fabric, and I'm going to make a notch on the bust point line, and then on the under bust point, under bust as well. Then you do the same on the other side. This is so it can be easy for you when you're sewing it around. So once I do it on the other side, place the notches on the bust point and the under bust line. And then remember, when I was drafting the pattern, I wrote where to join so that I don't make a mistake. Make sure you do the same for yours. And now I'm going to match the notches, and I use a pin to hold it down. You just keep using the pin to hold it down as you're turning it around so that it can match properly, as you can see me doing here. Okay, so I'm going to join the cups in the middle just like that, including the lining piece. I'll do the same. I'll do the same on the other cup. I placed notches on all of them. So once you pin it down, I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew it and then show you. Okay, so now I've done sewing it. As you can see, I sewed down the bias, and I've attached one cup of the corset to the blouse. So now once you finish sewing the cup, you use your scissors and place notches all around, as you can see me doing here. And once I'm done with that, I use my ironing ball so that I can press the seam open. If you don't have an ironing ball, I have a tutorial on how to make one, and I'll put the link in the description box below so you can watch that as well. So I just use my iron to make sure that I press the seam open, then turn it around and give it another good press. Okay, so once I'm done, now the cup is ready to be attached to the blouse. Now you're going to get the blouse and you match the seams together, as you can see me doing here. Then you pin it down, and then you follow the curves and keep pinning it down until you get to the top. So that's what I'm doing here. I keep pinning it down. Keep pinning it down until you get to the end. Then you flip the other side and continue to pin it down as well. Okay, so once I finish pinning it down, I'll take it to my sewing machine and I will sew it all around using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I will do the same for the lining. I pin down the lining cup, and after I sew the lining pieces, I will join them together just like the main fabric. Okay, so I'm going to take both to my sewing machine and do that and show you what's next. Okay, now I have attached the cup to the corset, as you can see here. So I decided to add another bias strip on the side so this can balance well. So this is just for decorative purposes. So I added another bias strip. And then after that, I am going to use another bias strip so that I can use it to cover the seam of the corset. So what I did is I cut another bias strip and I will use it to cover up the seam on the corset. So when you're sewing it, just sew close to the seam so that the cup will lay very well. Okay, so that's what I am going to do. And then after that, the next thing I did, I used the one of the yoke to turn in the other one, and then I gave it a good press. Then after that, I am going to turn it like so, right side facing the right side of the corset, and then I will place my lining on top of it, right side facing each other. So the yoke is going to be sandwiched between the main bodice and the lining, and then I will stitch it from the top, and then I'll close the bottom and then sew the sides. Then I will show you what is next. Okay, so this is the corset. After I finish attaching the yoke, I use the lining to turn it out. Also keep in mind that the lining is 1 inch shorter than the main corset. Okay, I left an opening to the side. That's where I turned it out, and this is what it looks like from the front. And then after that, I gave it a good press. I used my iron and iron it well. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the back. I'm going to use the lining to turn out the back pieces. So I have my main bodice and then my lining and then the yoke. Like I said, I'm using an organza fabric and I cut 2 pieces so I can use it to turn it out. So I sewed the neck area and all the way down to the zipper area, and I turned it out, gave it a good press. I did the same for the other side. Now I'm going to place the yoke 1 inch after the zipper line. So I marked out the zipper line, which is 1 inch, and then I placed the yoke. And now I'm going to place the lining on top of the yoke like this, and then I will stitch up from the top down to the sides, down to the zipper area and the hemline, and I'll leave a little opening to turn it out, and I'll show you what it looks like. So once I turn it out, this is what the back looks like. I've turned it out, and then I will top stitch the neck, the top, so that it can lay nicely. And then after that, I am going to join the back and the front together on the shoulder. And since I have 2 pieces cut out, basically now I have 4 pieces. I hold the shoulders together. Just watch closely. Then I'm going to flip the one in the back so that it can cover the other 3 shoulders together, like so. That way I will have a clean finish without any rough edge. Okay, that's just essentially why I have to do it this way. Okay, and then I'm going to pin it together. I will take it to my sewing machine and sew it down. Do the same for the other side, and then after that I will sew the sides together using my measurements. And then after that, I'll attach the zipper. Okay, so after I finish attaching the zipper and the shoulder and the sides, and this is what the corset looks like. So now basically you can use any sleeve that of your choice to attach. I'm going to be using bishop sleeve, and then for the neckline in the back I will use hook and eye or a button to close the back. So this is what the corset looks like. Okay, now I'm going to cut out the sleeve. I will use a bishop sleeve. You can use any sleeve of your choice. So I folded my fabric into 4, and I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on top for my guideline. Then from there I marked 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to take my armhole right there. So my round armhole is 9 inches, but I'm going to double it because I want a volume on this sleeve. So I'm using 18. So I'm using 18 inches. Okay, I get the midpoint. This is just for a guide. Remember, I want this to be very full. And I just marked my armhole, and then I marked from the top. I created more volume. Then I get the length of the sleeve. I'm using 21 inches. Okay, and then after that, so now I'm going to connect from the armhole down to the length of the sleeve. And that's basically it. And now I'm going to cut it out. So like I said, you can use any type of sleeve that you want for this style, or you can leave it as sleeveless. Okay, so this is what I have. Like as you can see, it's very full. So what I'm going to do is gather the top, and then on the bottom I am going to fold it into a little bit and fold it again, and then I will sew it all around. I will add elastic for the band, so I'm creating a casing there. Okay, so after I've gathered the top of the sleeve, I attached it to my bodice. Now I'm going to attach the elastic as well. I created a casing for the elastic at the bottom, and I left an opening. So this is the elastic. I'm going to use my safety pin, attach it at the end of the elastic, and then from the opening that I left, and I will start attaching the elastic all around. You can either measure this on where you want your sleeve to end, or you just keep going, and then after some time you try it on to see if it's secure enough before you cut it. I'm going to keep on attaching the elastic until it's secure enough for me. So what I'm going to do is try it on like this, if it's secure enough, and that's good for me right there. So I will now join the two ends of the elastic together and then trim it off. Alright, so I'm going to use my needle and thread and just secure it. You can do this on your sewing machine using a zigzag stitch as well. So I'm going to secure them together. And then I'll trim it off, and then I will pull the rest of the elastic in. Okay, so I am going to close it up right now on the opening. I will use my needle and thread to close it. So I finished inserting the elastic on both sleeves, and this is how it came out. As you can see, it has very much volume both on top and on the bottom. Okay, so this is the blouse on the mannequin. As you can see, it came out very beautiful, And that's basically it for this tutorial. I hope it has been very helpful for you. If it has, please give a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and come back for more interesting tutorial. Please share my videos. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe as I upload new videos every week. Thank you for watching thus far, and I will see you on my next video. Bye bye.